Hey, welcome back. See a couple people here. Sweden's in the room representing. Good to have you, Mud Shark, as always. Mud Shark 666. I have to do that. Let's see. Before we get started, I want to show off something that I worked on here. I have been streaming more regularly, and I have this checklist of things to set up to get my streaming to work. And it finally occurred to me, I should practice what I preach. And if I do something often, it's the same steps. You ought to automate it, right? So I set up my first shortcuts on my Mac. And this is Mac Stream Prepare. I learned that shortcuts are shared between devices, so I had to call this Mac Stream Prepare as opposed to my phone one, which sets Do Not Disturb and lets me fires up this app I use to control OBS. But you can see here the things I did to prepare to stream. I quit everything. And then this is a funny one. Quit everything except shortcuts because I need those to keep running apparently. I'll experiment with that more. Do Not Disturb. Find this Twitch background I use that shows, my book cover and helps me lay out the correct locations of things, and set that as my wallpaper. And then it took a little bit of experimenting, but I found that I can turn on my lights and set them to the correct brightness. So I've got big key light and little key light. I had to find what were actually the names represented in my local network. So I did that. And so that turns on the lights, and then it opens up my checklist. So I can do the manual stuff. It opens up a couple of things like the chat window and my viewer count. I created an Apple script to stop my time machine backups. That took a bit of doing. I use vanilla to hide my menu items at the top so that you're not bothered with all the extra doodads I have. Fire up Xcode, fire up OBS. And this last one, I set the screen larger so that it's easier for folks to see, but I haven't figured out how I can get into the display preferences, but I haven't figured out how to tell it, okay, now hit that radio button and select the extra large. Anyway, thought I'd share that with you as kind of a fun thing I did. I'll keep experimenting with, but it did work today. It saved me a lot of time. Cut out repeated stuff, automate what you can so that you can concentrate on the manual things, eliminate errors. Fun. Just kind of fun. Okay, let's see if my camera is still working here. It seems to be. So, where are we in this project? For those who are watching for the first time, the project is something to analyze a survey I took of what content people want from me. And we were working with the sanitizer, and I think the sanitizer is done. The sanitizer didn't used to exist. It came into existence because I found that running my real data through it caused a crash. So we created a sanitizer. Let's see, is it in? Yeah, these are all the tests of the sanitizer, and a test of a weirdo test. Look at this test. Don't do these very often, but sometimes you want to say, just do this thing and don't crash, and without an assertion. Weird, but it happens. So I'm going to call sanitizer done. Check. The next thing I want to do is pretty print. What do I mean by that? What I started to do is, pipe stuff through my pipeline, and that gives me a bunch of problems. And then I want to say, have a header and then print out the first 10 problems or something like that, that people reported that they would like me to address. And this, as I started to add this code in main, it's like that, yeah, that doesn't belong here. And this morning, just before starting, I thought, okay, so where does it go? I want to take, what's the shape of this thing? I want to take an array of scored answers, which are already sorted. Yep, they're already sorted. And pretty print. So that's sort of the shape of what this was. And my initial, here's an interesting thing. My initial inclination was to start adding it to the pipeline, which feels funny because the pipeline, it processes the survey input, and then you can ask it, hey, what are the outcomes? Give me problems, desires, and killer features, the three freeform questions I asked. And then, so it's like, here, I can sketch it out. See if it's still alive. So it's like if I have this pipeline and it takes survey, and then it spits out, I can query it for the three things, right? The problems, the desires, and the features. To turn around, to take this and then send it back to the pipeline to say, okay, now pretty print. Well, that doesn't work. That feels really funny and weird. So what is it? What is this thing? Well, I think it's not the pipeline, it's the pretty printer. And that seems like a good place to start. So much of TDD is really about design, and so much of design is trying to figure out what is the thing we're trying to solve. How do I express the domain? How do I take implicit things and make them explicit? So let's start. Let's start with a new pretty printer. Hello, Javier. Good to have you. All right, and I'll wait for this to come up. I'll make a new unit test suite, not pipeline, pretty printer tests. And what I learned last time is that when we're doing TCR, which is when if tests fail, it automatically reverts, this is not good. I don't want it to fail. I want to see it pass. That's not quite the right name. There we go. So in my my test, instead of having a failing test, what I'm going to do is keep an eye on here and see. I currently have 28 tests, and I expect a new test suite to pop up pretty printer tests with a passing test to make this 29. And let's go. There we go. 29 pretty printer tests. Let's check the my commit message is not right. I'm still using TCR, this whip limited whip plugin, which does among its 3 features, 3 styles. It has this test and commit or revert, and it uses here I've got it set to use a commit message from the last commit. So to set this up for success, I'm going to edit this and I'll call it TCR pretty printer. That's just going to be my bucket, my semi-generic thing. You can see here I was working on the sanitizer, and you can see how much time elapses between commits. Look at this. That's an interesting outcome of TCR. Here I go like, here's a minute. Here are 2 in the same minute. A couple minutes pass. Here are 2 in the same minute. All in the same minute. So many more commits even than I used to do. All right. We got test 0. What do we want to do? I want to talk to a thing. Let's start with the shape of this thing, and I'll comment it out to conform to TCR. I want this to continue passing. So I'm not sure what I think what I want to do is basically test well, it's not just problems. It's any set of scored answers, and I want probably more than 10 of them so that I can say take the top 10 or take the top n, not 10, not a hard-coded number. Take the top n and put them out with a nice title or something like that. What is that? It's probably like report first, report answers. And I'm going to lean on the other tool that's somewhat unusual, which is approvals, the brand new tool, to evolve it sort of like you do with snapshot tests, to say, how does this look? How does this look? Do I like this? I want to move this over here. Maybe I want to change the wording, and keep iterating until it's fine, and then say, that's it. That's good. So let's bring in approvals. And I want to commit that. Move in small steps. And I want to say try approvals, verify something. It's probably going to be a string. And let me slap this in place first. This is going to be sort of the shape of the test. Obviously, I don't want it to say hello. I want some sort of result, where a result is going to be a string. And where this is going to change. report answers. I'll keep the name as is for now. All right, so this will fail. And there's my thing to approve. I'm going to approve it. And now when I run it again, it will pass. But because I didn't change any production code, there was nothing to revert. So now the shape of this is locked in place. This is me getting better at TCR and learning how to work with it. Some different habits than I'm used to. All right, so hello is obviously not correct. What do I want to do? I want to query this object that doesn't exist. It'll be the system under test. And now here's maybe the hardest part. Not a hard part. The hardest part of TDD is getting started. But one of the most interesting parts is that when you're creating a new method or a new piece of functionality, really, you design the API from the point of view of the caller. And so now I can say, what should this actually look like? Well, I'm going to take a list of answers. Yeah, I do need a title. The answers are going to be of type scored answer. I'll just start with that. So it's not going to be report answers. It's going to be report answers with a title like answers and the top 3, say, for this purposes of this test. Something like that. Report answers, title answers, top 3. I kind of like that. This will need to talk to a specific thing that doesn't exist. The pretty printer. It may not need to even be a type. It sure looks like it's just a plain function. But I want it to live inside something called pretty printer. Maybe like this. And I need a few scored answers. I'll worry about that later. That's more the shape of what I want. This is going to be... Okay, so now remembering back to the things I've learned about TCR, one of the things is that one of the patterns that works well with it is to do TDD like you mean it. I think it was Keith Brathwaite came up with this. TDD like you mean it. Who gave the original talk. Keith Brathwaite. Let me share this one. This is a good talk if you haven't seen it. He came up with like, what if we were even more extreme? Meaning, instead of creating this in a new file, what if I just create it inside of the test file? On the other hand, now something that makes me not want to do that and to go ahead and create it in a new file is that AppCode has limited refactoring capabilities compared to other JetBrains IDEs like IntelliJ. Specifically, there is no move refactoring, and that's a problem. So, with that in mind, I'm going to create it in a new file after all, so that I don't have to do a manual move. All right, this is going to be an enum as a namespace. Put it in core. One shortcoming of AppCode is that I wish it were smarter about, if I select tests, then make tests the target. I have to be very clear about it and say, no, if I select survey core, get the target right. Xcode, I think, is better on that front. Whew, I said something that Xcode is better at. All right. Enum really ought to be public because the main is going to have to call this. And still have squiggly lines. That's odd that it can't find it. And now let's create this. It'll create the shape of it. Hey, it created a static for me. Awesome. I thought I was going to have to make this change by hand to say, well, it created a method, but it's not really a method. It's, I'm not creating, because I'm using Pretty Printer, the enumeration as a pseudo namespace. I thought, yeah, it'll get confused. It did the right thing. Also, look at how well it figures out everything about the shape of this new call. That looks good. We do not want to fatal error. I just want to return hello, I think. Let's see if this sticks. Here's the point of danger, is if I did anything wrong, whew, it's stuck. And that only worked. Okay, so this is a ghost error. I'm not sure why it hasn't caught up, why AppCode does this. I'll try closing and reopening the file. It was the tests, right? Pretty Printer tests. I think I'd have to close and reopen AppCode. It may be a bug. It sure looks like a bug. They did come out with a new version today, but I didn't want to jump into that just as I was about to stream. So we'll see. We'll ignore it. Anyway, this works. Of course, it's not the shape I want. So now let's work on the shape. What do I want? this to look like. I can even start monkeying directly with the approval, I suppose. I don't know if that's a pattern or not. I think I would rather not directly edit the approval, but instead rely on the pattern of having the diff come up and then using the differ to approve things. That seems like a better approach. So the danger is that as I make changes, like if I change anything in here, not in here. If I change this to foo, well, not to foo, to something like answers, and to a multi-line and say, you know, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever those are. This is where I feel a little lost, is that if I were to execute this now, this will go away. It will be reverted. Even if I approve this, let me try this. If I approve this, it's gone. It's gone. So, I'm not quite sure how to approach this. And still like be using TCR. Let me think. And even if this is like completely alien, you're watching this and you're like, what the heck, John? Why don't you just turn it off? The first time I did that, I was filled with regret because I felt like there was something important to learn about how do I shift this? How do I change this? And maybe this is where maybe I do need to directly monkey with this. In fact, why don't I try this? Let's see if I can't just put the title out. Right? Yes. This is essentially the context of the assertion. And so even though I said I don't want to edit it directly, it feels like that's okay in this case to say, well, let me get here. And what's the quickest way to get here? Like, this is a failing assertion right now. Hello. Well, that's funny. Hang on a second. I thought things that were approved weren't reverted. This is where I'm a little confused. Okay, let's go back to clean. Yeah, I keep the approvals and the tests, which means if I do this, this will fail. Okay, it didn't revert it. I'm a little confused. Not sure what happened. Let's say answers. On a line by itself. Sure, for now. This is what I expect. Okay. Not sure what happened. But here we are. This is what I don't want to approve. This is what I want to get to. So to do this, the quickest, safest way is this. Once this is in place, I can change this to be title, and this should pass. Cool. There we go. Now we're finding our way. All right. Scored answers, what are they? Scored answers are answer and score with a description. Okay. And the description just has a dash between them. So let's create a few of these. So I want like answer 9, 8, 7. And what I want is to say answer like that, except the top 3. All right. Once again, let me do the where is it? Let me do the simplest thing that can pass. First, I'm going to convert this to a multi-line and then paste in those things. And hopefully this will, because I'm just copying and pasting. Oh, I've got I've got a thing here with a number of lines. Looks like I have too many on that side. I do. Okay, let me try again. It's not hard because I'm trying to keep my steps small. Okay. Now I should be able to say, take the top something I take the answers and take the first first in some range. Here's where it gets a little fun. How do we do this? Don't want the first. I really want the... So I have an array. I want to take like 0, to the top, like that. What's this complaining about? That it's unused. Well, that's fine. Will this pass? I don't want to lose what little work I'm doing, so even if it's unused, I'm going to run the tests. The idea with TCR, again, is that because the commits are so small, this could go into, if I were working with a team, this could go into main. Even if I have something unused, it's in process, that's okay. In fact, Kent Beck's vision for TCR is a larger system that I don't know what's happened with, if he's worked on it at all, called Limbo. Limbo, you know the game where you have a bar and you have to go under the bar, keeping your by bending backwards. And the question is, how low can you go? And that is the question he wanted for people working in trunk-based development. How low can we go? He wanted a system where as soon as things passed, it pushed and automatically pulled so that to everyone else, so that code is continually changing. Sounds wacky. Sounds wonderful. All right, let's take these top answers and let's extract this to a variable. Like that. And now I want to iterate over those or map them. Reduce. Thank you. Let's try reducing into a string. Reducing right to all right, the initial result is empty. The next partial is going to be, whoops, hang on. Trying to figure out how, I can't remember. Here it is. No. Don't recall how to automatically generate the closure. I don't, well, so we'll do it by hand here. The result is not a result, it's a string. Answer. So I should be able to say result plus it doesn't like that. Anonymous closure arguments cannot be used inside. Oh, answer. Something like that. Right. Except I want new lines. A leading new line. I was like, do I need a leading new line or a trailing new line? And now, will this work? Let's find out. Huzzah! Great. Now we can clean this up. Don't need the outer parens. I don't think I need types here. I'm pretty sure it can infer all that. There we go. Nice. Thank you much, Shark. How do you feel about that? I'm liking it. I am liking it. may have just implemented everything I need about the pretty printer. Except maybe some lines before or some lines after, because I want to like pretty print this and then this and then this. So I want a blank line probably after, like here. So I should be able to get there pretty quickly by adding a blank line like that. No? Didn't like that. Let me try it the other way. Whoops, something's off. Oh, it's because the approvals being the assertions were it was still there. Okay, let me try this again. The other way I could do it is like this. This is gonna fail. But I kind of want to see if this is the shape I want. Oh, it passed. Well, that was a surprise. Didn't expect it to pass. Well, I like that better in terms of how this looks instead of having them jammed together. Now let's say I add an extra new line. This will fail, and I approve this now, and because it's just one quick step, I can just put it back. Cool. And so this is the shape of what we have. Now we should be able to drive to the finish. Holy crap. Is this it? Is this the final conclusion of all the exploration? Let's find out. I'm going to switch over to main. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we get. Let's move in some small steps here. We create a pipeline, we have it process stuff, we can ask it for problems. I should be able to say pretty printer report pipeline problems. And we'll call this problems. And let's just take the top 3. And I should print this. Ready? A drum roll. Look at that! Woo! Wow. I don't know what just fed back, but something fed back. I happened to hit a harmonic note. All right, let's go this. Actually, no. Let me take problems and desires. And I'll stick with top 3. I just want to see the sort of the formatting here. Let's make this bigger. Oh, interesting. Maybe I didn't need... Oh, I don't need the blank line, because if I do it like this, if I do multiple print statements, a print statement goes on its own line. But it's working, it's working. All right, let me undo that, that last change. Ah, this is cool. Let's go to our pretty printer and let me get rid of this. After all. Oops. Don't run the survey. Run my tests. And say, yep, that's the way we want to go. I think if I did it right. Oh, no. That is not it. Let me try this again. Remove the new line. I shouldn't say take this over there. I need to always click on the left side and say, yeah, accept that. It's funny, but that means where my brain went was like, I want to go this way. No, I want to go, always take it like that. There. That changes the test. I'm repeat the change just because it's quick and easy. Cool. Now let's go back to survey and I should see things a little. Oh, darn it. I didn't commit it. Haha, oops. Here we go. Let's try it again. Process the survey. Print. Pretty printer report. Pipeline problems. Top 3. Let's confirm this again, and I'm going to commit this by hand because tests didn't run. That's what tripped me up here. Tests didn't run, so I need to say this is like that. Commit was canceled. No! Okay, now I need to turn TCR off, apparently, because this thing is saying, whoa, you're trying to go around TCR? That ain't the way. I could switch back to the tests and rerun them, but that's kind of not that helpful in this case. It's giving me a button. I'll click the button. All right, so now desires. And now let's check the formatting. Beautiful. It's going to complain again. I'm going to override it. Oh, it didn't complain that time. Maybe it's like, oh, you're going around TCR, fine. And killer features. Did that. There we go. All right. So much fun. All right. And now, I'd like to see top 3 is is good, but I'd like to see 5 or 10. I'm curious about 10. So let me do a column-based replacement here and say, give me the top 10. Here we go. And now drum roll, the final outcome of this survey. We have problems people face. Well, let me commit this. Yep, do it. All right, here's our answer. Legacy code, what to test, mocking, decoupling, the basics, how to test async. And this was before async await came out, so it's probably just async in general. Stuff about bad tests, how to test device sensors, how to test Swift UI, how to deal with continuous integration. Desires, things they want. They want coverage. They want to be proficient. They want decoupling. They want to do TDD. They want to make it a habit. They want confidence. I say they, I mean like everyone who took the survey. They want confidence, stability. They want to convince, not just confidence in themselves. They want to convince their team members. Very interesting. They want mocking. They want to do BDD, behavior driven. And the killer features, no surprise, Swift UI, number 1. Work on a real app. A thing about best practices, async, combine, RX Swift, continuous integration, core data, decoupling, and MVVM. Wonderful. That is a lot. So maybe I'll go with the top 5. I don't know. Anyway, there's the answers to my survey. Woo! At this point, we call this done. We declare success, and I've got a list of things, very clear idea of what people would like to hear from me. Originally, I put the survey out there as I would like to work on a video course. However, things have changed. Even though Quality Coding is still going as a blog, I need to be careful about conflicts of interest because now it's no longer a hobby. I do training and coaching for industrial logic. I sold my soul. I'm glad that I sold my soul. And so I think what this does is this will shape the type of training, the content I produce from industrial logic. It will also affect my my blogging. I mean, I'm going to keep blogging. But I don't think you'll see a video course out of me anytime soon. Sorry. It's just, it's both the investment of, it's not so much that it's the investment of time, it's that it's the conflict of interest with the company that is selling training that I work for. So come get your training. Anyway, thank you so much. Ideas about the next streaming topic. This was good. This was interesting, more complicated, more nuanced than I thought it would be, longer than I thought it would be, good exploration of stuff, but I don't know. I think that I will probably pause my streaming until we figure this out. So I'm open to ideas. Let me know if you've have like a project or you want me to do a kata. I mean, I could always do a kata, something with a UI. That's a good idea. That is an interesting idea. Like we could do some exercises around, or I don't know. Something to think about. But anyway, we're at time, right on schedule, so to speak, when I thought this was going to wrap up like, many sessions ago, and it turned out there was still domain things in the domain that hadn't been discovered yet. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Thanks for coming by, you two. Always grateful for your help and your input. If for folks who are watching this recording on YouTube, give it a like. Put some comments in there. People are very quiet, and I'd love to hear folks what your comments about any particular things, even questions, things you like, things you didn't like, things you want to try, things that you will never try. Let me know. It's fun. And yeah, I'll catch you next time, whenever that is. Take care.